Hello, YouTube. It's me, John Avenger, once again, and welcome to another Movies from the Sea. And this is the review you've been waiting for. This is the Wanted sequel that I wanted to review back in probably in 2015, but now I'm going to get to, instead of doing it for sequel month, I'll do it now. And this is the Jaws collection of the sequels. And the next one I'm reviewing is the underrated sequel, the best of the Jaws sequels, Jaws 2. Yes, this is a very underrated sequel. I really enjoy this film. I saw this film, a long time ago. I didn't see it when I was a kid, like the first one. The only two Jaws films I saw as a kid was the first one and the third one, so I have nostalgia for them. But Jaws 2 is a really good sequel. I think it definitely is a sequel that's in the same vein of the first one. Granted, it doesn't have as much tension as the first one because it doesn't, it tries to sway away from being, like you don't know what the shark looks like. Here, it's basically it's not the same movie though. It's different because in the sequel, basically another shark is attacking people in the ocean, but this time there's a bunch of young people and teenagers that are being terrorized by the shark, and they go out into the boats and they rebel against Brody, saying, no, get out of the water. And one by one, a lot of them get killed. It's basically a slasher. Jaws 2 is a slasher in the water. I almost said in space. I'd rather see Jaws in space than to see Jaws the Revenge. But anyway, Jaws 2 is a lot of fun. I mean, Spielberg didn't come back to direct it. Instead, I think the director, wait, does it say here? Um, no, it doesn't say it. I think it's Zonic or something like that. I don't know. A Zonic and Brown production. I don't know who directed it. I forgot who directed it, but he did a good job. I know it's a man that directed it, and it's a fun movie. Jaws 2 was definitely not as well received as the first one was by critics, but who cares? Critics are wrong. A lot of them like Fembusters, so I don't know what to say about that. And the film is long. It's almost 2 hours. It's an hour and 57 minutes. I think you could have edited some of the characters, like Brody and his family. That's fine. They didn't have Richard Dreyfuss. He was doing Close Encounters of the Third Kind, so he couldn't come back. And of course, Robert Shaw died in the first film, so they brought back Lorraine Gary and Roy Scheider. That's pretty much it. But and the asshole mayor from the first film. And then you have Michael, his son, and everybody else. The Brody family, that was fine, but the teenagers, there's some I liked, and there's some I think you could have just cut out of the film. I like the girl with the short hair and the brown shorts. I like the nerdy kid with glasses. He looks like Robbie from Victorious on Nickelodeon. Matt Bennett. I like some of the girls. There's a blonde girl that's a little bit freaky. I thought she was a little bit annoying. I don't hate her. I just thought that she was kind of annoying. Just so to keep the pacing better, you could just cut at least 10 minutes of the movie and it will be much more smoother. But other than that, it's a really good sequel. It's fun. It's the only one of these films that got features because Jaws 3 and Jaws 4 didn't get anything. And I'm glad. I wish it had a commentary. The first one definitely gets the most features, and it deserves it because it's a classic. But I like Jaws 2. Jaws 2, very underrated, very fun. I love this poster. Even the poster of Jaws 2 is really cool. I thought it was a really cool looking poster. You got the girl, skiing on the water, and then the giant shark's head is coming from behind her. I saw that VHS tape, and I'm like, oh, cool. They made a sequel to Jaws that I never seen, and I saw it many years ago. I think back in like the 2000s, and I said, this is a fun sequel, Jaws 2. It's very underrated. It's not a masterpiece like the first film, but it's a good sequel. It definitely gets worse after two, definitely, but I don't think it's a disaster. It was a huge hit when it came out in the late 70s. It set the stage for movies to get sequels because then you had sequels to Star Wars and Alien and Superman and a bunch of other stuff. A lot of movies that got good sequels that are worthy. It's not like the second movie ruins the first film. No, it makes Brody is still a badass. He kicks the shark's ass at the end, and it's different from the first film. It doesn't feel like the first film, but it has some of the characters, and it's still fun. It's still got that awesome John Williams score. It's still in the water. It's not a joke. The special effects still hold up, and it's a worthy sequel. I think it's fun. It's definitely not a disaster. It's not like Speed 2 where they put it in the water and it made it worse and they pussified it. They went from a R to a PG-13. That did not happen with Jaws. Jaws, most of them were PG until the third one when the PG-13 rating was coming to be in the 80s. They started putting more films PG-13 instead of PG because they had more blood or they had more violence or they had nudity or they had more coarse language. But I would say that if you have kids, I think you could show them Jaws 2. It's not that disastrous. There is blood in it, but it's a PG film. It's not going to show you too much. And like I said, the effects still hold up. The shark, when it has its face burnt, it still looks badass. And the way Brody kills it is just awesome. I'm not going to spoil it if you haven't seen Jaws 2, but I would say give it a watch. It's worth your time. And it's fun and energetic and it's not boring. Just cut 10 minutes out of it and it would be fine for pacing issues, but that's about it. But anyway, it's fun. Roy Scheider's still awesome in the movie as Brody, and he carries the film on his collective shoulders. So Jaws 2 I enjoy for what it is. And it's a good shark sequel. And that's very rare in Hollywood. But anyway, I like Jaws 2. I would recommend it. That's my review for it. Thanks for liking, subscribing, commenting. You guys are awesome. I would give this film 2 thumbs up. It's a good sequel. I don't feel it's horrible or inferior to the first film. I still like it. It's like Ghostbusters 2. It's a great sequel, despite the hate it gets. I always look for the entertainment value in sequels that, are not just a sequel in name only. It does continue the story and the characters, and it's fun. So I like Jaws 2. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next review. The next one will be Jaws 3, 3D. This is not the 3D version, so I'm just reviewing the 2D version, which is what I saw when I was a kid. But I still have fun with it. It's a guilty pleasure, but I'll get to that review next time. Later, guys.